my passion for the railways of Preston, basically. So I've been working on it now for 45 years. So
that's a long time.
Been coming a while. But I had a concept. I wanted it to be focused on signalling. I was always curious what was going on in number 1 signal box when I used to be a little train spotter. So I think that's what gave me the buzz to do a bit of signalling research. So the layout itself is an accurate portrayal of the North Union side of Preston railway station. South end mainly, but it's gradually crept around to the north end.
So this is Preston Station just here in front, and it just goes all the way down here, all the way around. Storage sidings here, and then what Mike was saying, there's another, what did you say, 4 signal boxes behind there as well?
4 more signal boxes behind there. We've got most of the operational areas of number 4, except for the East Lancs side. Most of number 3, which is this little signal box here.
Oh yes.
LNW loop catch handles and his block instruments. Although I've been told off for the signalman wearing a hat, because not many did. The full operational area of number 2, which was the station box up in the roof here, and 2A, which a lot of people will remember as being over the dock branch. So the London North Western Standard cabins. Preston number 1 was the biggest box at the south end, 162 levers.
So you're still obviously building a lot of the layout as it's going.
Oh, it'll take forever.
For a few more years. So what the block instruments, this ream after ream after ream of block instruments, how have you made them?
They're just little Abici block boxes basically, with a little meter in that's centre biased, and basically copies of London North Western Fletcher instruments, depending on where they're working to, whether it's a twin needle, a single needle. A lot of Preston was really permissive, so my next job is to do a little permissive ring round around them. But there are some no block sections, so hence we've got just the little tappers on the end.
Bells. So, as a complete novice here, this box is...
From here that way it's representing Ribble sidings, and from here that way it's representing the north end of the station, which is Preston number 5.
Right. And this rather large frame behind me here.
This is Preston number 1. Again, really, fortunately I had the diagrams for the block shelves, so I've been able to get the instruments more or less in the right order. The only things that are missing are the routers, because the little circular routers were perhaps a bit more tricky to deal with. But basically it can be worked by 2 men as an up and a down side. The lever frames are fully interlocked, although done by electronics rather than mechanics. And if you pull a lever that's locked,
it tells you off.
tells you off, and of course the operation doesn't follow on the layout either.
Yes. Oh, brilliant. Preston number 1's cabins diagram.
Pop round the other side in a minute and have a look over.
So this gantry, well, this layout here is...
These are all the ones across the station here.
Right, they've not been put in yet.
There are some colour lights. So they're a bit like those.
Yes.
It was basically the ones that were difficult to see, because once I started to put the buildings on,
yes,
the drivers couldn't see the signals, especially up at this end. Because basically these are north end of the platform departure signals, which are for this group across here. This is the bridge at Fishergate with the county hall in the opposite corner. And anybody who's been on Preston Station will probably recognise the sort of outlines of the architecture, and the famous goods warehouse, which was a big lockdown build.
your little. These are just.
They're actually switches with a
tail
moulded dolly on them. You know.
How did you have to make them or?
No, I managed to buy them.
Buy them.
You can't get them anymore though.
I've got to say, because you must have. I mean, you've got 162 there, and.
Oh, if you come across this.
Oh my goodness. That is a layout.
I have used authentic blocks where possible.
So this is number 3 cabin.
Well, there's number 3 and number 2.
Number 2.
There's 2 boxes here. These are basically the station boxes controlling the up and down main platforms, sort of 4, 5, 6 and 7.
Yes.
This one is Preston number 2A, which controls the slow lines and the through lines, platforms on 1 and 2. But there's some complication around platform 3, because although 2A controls the approach point work in from the slow lines,
Yes.
it's actually the block section of number 2 cabin. So there's release levers work between the 2 boxes to allow all this clump of point work to be controlled safely.
So which end's the Manchester bound end?
Well, the south is that
South
way.
is that's towards Manchester.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, I get it now.
So you've got basically this. Well, Preston 2A was obviously a later additional cabin as the station grew and the width of the lines were added. But because it's in quite a constrained site, there's quite a lot of slips in here to allow workings into the up and down platform, number 3 platform. So it causes a bit of fun for the operators to get in and out of there.
It was an amazing amount of signalling in its day, wasn't it?
And some of these some of the signals are slotted 3 ways.
Right. Yes. Yes. They are lovely to build these. I love these.
No, I think I made 44. I think.
Wow. So what the bodies, are these off the shelf bodies? You just made them
Pieces of wood.
piece of wood, 44 of them.
It's quite a nice. It's a beachy and it's quite a nice wood to work. It sands very easily.
I'm gonna say.
And there's a little piece of plywood on the top and little mouldings to build up to, and then turn the little brass tappers and put little micro switches on them.
So the micro switch is in the back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah.
So that. Well, depending on, but you'll get which way will you get the real bell? You'll get an L and Y bell, but it's a bit of a soft bell that way. You'll get a London North Western bell if I'm ringing from number 1 because it comes in there, and you've got annunciators on because
the telltales, yes.
yes, because a lot of the guys that come to operate are not necessarily railway men.
Yeah.
And so you've not really got time to learn different tones of bells, so it's easy just to indicate, which you'll get.
Yeah, it's a telltale on it.
So it stays on for a few seconds just to give them a clue.
Just the capacitor that holds it on, or is
there's just a little timer circuit in there to hold it on. But of course, when you work in the frame, it's all interlocked. So as you pull the FPLs off, they're locking the points down, and I'm sort of releasing the signals as appropriate. The signals will put the back lock on. They can emulate deadlocks, either locks normal, locks reversed, or special locking, for instance, for a ground signal that's reading through a route. So they do. It's all done with
in the process.
In the processor, a very, very old microprocessor.
Did you write the software yourself?
Yeah. Oh, I worked in the computer industry, so.
Oh, did you? Right. Makes a lot more sense now. Yes. How long did it take you to put the program together? Has it continually been put?
Well, it's a development. In fact, we found a failed lock. We couldn't actually get this signal to clear yesterday's session because for some unknown reason it's the first time we've ever come in to the carriage sidings that way. Because the layout's fairly flexible, we tend to do it different ways. and so it's overlocked. I've got a little job I've got to look into, but you know, you're constantly, you know, just picking odd little bits out. Next major job on the signalling side is to put line clear releases on.
Yeah.
So we've worked out how to do that now, so I can set to at that at some point. But
so your computer program, did you write that as code from scratch?
well, I designed the microprocessor boards and wrote the assembler to assemble the code.
Blimey. Oh my word. That's a work of art in itself.
But it's very, they're well old microprocessors. What I've started doing now, and what I've been doing for a number of people now, is a version of this that uses PIC microprocessors.
Yes.
So I've got that old box stuff now. So
I've only just learned to use a PIC processor for running a 4-aspect in the garden, and it's taken me nearly 20 years to work out there's 2 power supplies, not just one.
I've had the same power supply trouble, having to isolate the electronics side of things to keep a clean supply from all the sort of point motors and stuff that work.
Did you get the spurious EMF picking things? Yes,
I did early on, particularly with some of the TTL logic that's in some of this old stuff.
Yes. Do you ever get it with the bells?
No, not really, because I've learned they're on the bells themselves are on a separate power supply because they thump the supply of it.
They do, yes.
So they're separate. So. Preston number 4 was extended quite early on, and it ended up being one of the biggest boxes outside the London area, being 186 levers. It was a very low cabin, so it had back-to-back locking with the locking rods going across the floor in the locking room. It was extended A to I think, at the north end, and about 40 levers at the south end.
See some of that there. So that's B, C, D, and E. I've lost. Oh, that's H. Well, H is up there.
Well, these were nicknamed by the signalman Little Harry and Little Jimmy. These two, J and
right.
H.
Yeah.
Because they were really acceptance signals.
So once you know where everything is, you know where it is, isn't it? So would the signalman who worked at number 4, would they have worked other cabins there? I mean, obviously there's relief, or would it have been permanent?
I'm trying to think. I think the grades were what they call Special A, something like that. I think when they worked it was only worked by 3 men, an up and a down man and a man moving the ironwork.
Yeah.
But it was a fairly busy box.
How many trains roughly on an average day?
Oh, now you're asking. That's a tricky one.
Depends which era as well, doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah, I can't. There's only so much research I've done.
Yeah. So when did the semaphores go?
Semaphores went with the power box, 72. This gantry was only cut down then in 72. Well, probably a year or 2 before as the stage work went on. I haven't worked all the stage work out for Preston number 4. I've done all the cabins from Lancaster to Carlisle 13, but not down here.
So this is your first proper London North Western semaphore.
Yeah, I made that quite a while back. I could probably do a better job now, but this is one that the running arm is one that's slotted 3 ways.
Ah, right. Yes, yeah.
So I can. suppose, mid-30s, I guess, it was shunted into and demolished all the base brickwork.
So they just
it was
rebricked it all.
Rebricked all the base up. Propped the cabin up and bricked up the well, it came off that little carriage siding there. It ran the, whatever it was, ran the buffer stop off.